Hey guys, so normally we start our cold opens with, Gavin fucking up something or some disaster happening. But I just received a voicemail from former guest of the podcast, Lorian McKenna, and it is borderline perfect. So I figured this is the only way I want to start the show. So here goes.
I just want you to know what an awesome parent I am. I just lost my shit in the car on the way to school and called Quincy an asshole. So I'm pretty good. If you want to get any parenting tips from me on how to raise a psychopath or to emotionally alienate your kid, just let me know, because I feel like I'm expert status.
And this is Gaytriarchs.
So I was recently on a plane all by myself. As we know, that's daddy's number one spa treatment, right?
It's the best.
And it was fantastic. And I ordered a drink, big surprise, watched a movie, et cetera, et cetera. But I was dumbfounded by how much it is so hard for me to focus on a plane. Now, I love plane time, especially now, because I can just do what I want to do, right? And I just get to do whatever the fuck I want to do. So I wanted to watch a movie. So I started to watch Bros, the movie. Have you seen Bros?
I have seen Bros, yeah.
Billy Eichner?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so heartwarming, so charming,
it's a great movie.
So titillating, just dirty enough. It's totally entertaining. Everybody should watch it, but not on a plane necessarily. But then I think I'm having a double standard here. Like, I suddenly got super embarrassed. I didn't finish the movie. The first sex scene, I'm like, oh my God, other people are watching me watch this movie. Because
is it because like a flight attendant walked up to you and said, "Sir, you're fully erect. Do you need a blanket?" And you're like, "No, thanks. It's not that cold." And she's like, "Take the fucking blanket, sir." 23E.
No, thank God. But adjacent to that reminds me of that I find it also very difficult to ever focus on my own movie in a plane, because all I want to see is what 22D and 22F are watching.
Yeah.
I cannot... And I don't
even if it's
myself,
just like where the plane is.
Yeah.
It's way more interesting.
Totally
You're like,
distracting.
Oh, it's 2:24 at our landing location. Cool.
Wait, what are they? What are they watching? Maybe it's more interesting than what I'm watching. I mean, there's so much FOMO in watching a movie on a plane.
Yeah.
I just want to have 7 screens going at the same time, and only one of them should be X-rated adjacent sex scenes. Which then, bringing it back to Bros, makes me think if I were watching, I was going to say Titanic and the sex scene, but that's obviously whatever. That's sex from 1994. But like, if I were watching a straight sex scene, I'd be like, whatever, dude. I'm watching sex on a plane. But I felt self-conscious watching Bros. Isn't that ridiculous? I need to get over my own inner homophobia, I suppose. But anyway.
The headline, Gavin, is Gavin Lodge watches gay porn in public. I mean, that's basically what you just
and
said.
Also goes down an intellectual rabbit hole about what it means to watch gay sex in porn in public, and also watching other people's movies. That's I mean, there were all sorts of things there. Yeah. Anyway,
speaking about watching what other people are doing, my children, who are 4 and 2, are having this new great game at dinner time and breakfast time, which is She's Looking at Me. And here's how we play the game. We sit down at the table and we start complaining about whatever food dad made. And then we start crying and screaming because the other kid who sits directly across from the kid is looking generally in their direction.
Stop looking at me.
Exactly. Stop looking at me. She's looking at me. He's looking at me. Tears, tears, tears. And I have basically given up. And so now what is required of me, we have like we always have like a paper bag in this corner of the kitchen that is for our paper recyclables. So now when we sit down to dinner and I'm setting the table with forks and napkins and plates, I now have to set the dinner table bag of trash in the middle of the table to create a barrier between my 2 children so they won't scream and cry at each other. So I have just totally given up because I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I would like to eat dinner in peace. So now we eat dinner with a bag of trash on the table. And that's how I'm parenting.
The headline for this section is, well, you just gave it. That is totally relatable, though. I was definitely in that mode. And frankly, it still happens. I mean, the fact when my kids get annoyed with each other, it quickly spirals into a stop talking to me, stop talking to me, stop looking at me. She's looking at me, Dad, or he's looking at me, Dad. No, usually it's she's looking at me, Dad. And yeah, it's this is a universal theme.
Yeah.
Do you think that this went on in like 1776 with like John Adams and his children sitting at the table being like, he looked at me? Or were they a little more like, the British are coming, we only have potatoes to eat?
No, they were just exhausted from plowing the fields or whatever they were doing. So I think the kids didn't have the energy legitimately. And they were dying at 26. So they didn't have much time to complain, honestly.
Yeah, they were already at work when they were ages 4 and 6. And so, but this is definitely a 2024 princess problem that is totally universal because it was true for me in 2014 as well. Speaking of putting trash on the table between kids, that was a perfect segue to something else I wanted to bring up and rant about. Isn't it? Isn't it? Thank you for teeing me up for it. I was recently talking to a friend, a group of dads, about kids and their chores. And not that I don't have enough things to go on around the house, but so often I'm like, could you just... Oh, Jesus Christ, just let me do it myself. It'll be faster and better. And I need to be better about making my kids do the shit, even if it's a shitty job that they're going to do. But anyway, we were talking about chores, and I'm trying to think, how do we get into the summertime with more chores for my kids so that they'll be, you know, more grateful for how much I do for them. And one of the dads says, well, my kid does his laundry. And I'm like, your kid is 11 and he does his own laundry? I mean, that's like kicking your kid out of the house a little bit. I was impressed with that. My kids would have a total meltdown at doing laundry. Do you plan on having your kids do the laundry when they're 11?
I was just thinking, like, when did I start doing laundry? I never did a load of laundry. And then I went to college, and then I paid the laundromat across the street from me to wash and fold my laundry, and it would come back in like a square. And
that square is so satisfying.
Oh, it's so satisfying. I've never felt better in underwear. My balls have never loved being hugged by 100% cotton than when it's, you know, perfectly in this like parallelogram.
Yes,
but I don't think it was till after I graduated college. So I'm a terrible person for this.
This is embarrassing.
This is really embarrassing.
To all of our listener out there, don't follow our lead. Do not do as David does. But this is embarrassing. Please continue to embarrass yourself. That is embarrassing that you didn't do laundry until after college. Yeah. Oh my God. But I thought it was embarrassing enough that my mom, basically as a parting gift to me when I went to college, was teaching me how to do my laundry.
That's smart, though, honestly.
Yeah, well, it isn't rocket science. And yes, an 11-year-old can definitely operate. I mean, Jesus, my kid operates basically flight control systems from his iPod.
Could literally launch nuclear stubs.
Yes.
But
yes. But anyway, I mean, it just made me feel like, and this is a dad who I doubt he listens, but I would love it if he did. This is not a guy who brags about his kid at all. Mm-hmm. And it was just like a matter of fact. But I'm like, this is the same sense of shame I feel when there were other parents on the playgrounds. For me, 8 years ago, where they're like, yeah, my kid is doing trigonometry now, or we found some gamification of high-level algebra. And I think, oh, Jesus Christ, nobody fucking cares that your kid already reads at an 8th grade level and they're in 2nd grade. Keep that business to yourself.
I love your elitist parent voice. That's a really good character. You should keep that in your back pocket. That's really good.
Well, it is definitely the humble bragging of trigonometry for 5-year-olds is 11-year-olds doing their laundry. But maybe I'll try that out this summer and I'll report back.
So you know what's also annoying? It is having a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old when they're playing games. So that the 2-year-old, my daughter, only wants to do what my son says. So if like I say, hey guys, I have Play-Doh. Who wants green and wants red? My daughter will say, I want green. Emmett will say, I want red. And then Hannah will go, I want red, right? It's always whatever he wants, whatever he says. So when we're playing games that are intellectually appropriate for him, she wants to join. The problem is that she doesn't know how to play these games because she's 2 and stupid.
Yeah.
So now I've got to play this game with her to try to be fair. And it's so annoying. So we were playing hot versus cold. So, you know, hey, I'm thinking of an item in this room. And then he walks around. We say hot, warmer, getting warmer. You know, that game.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I want to play. And I'm like, okay. And then I start saying hot or cold. She has no fucking concept of what's going on, but she's so desperate to play. And I feel so bad because if there was a camera on my face would have melted and I'm just walking through it until it's his turn again. And I feel terrible because she wants to play too. And there's so few games that both of those 2 kids can play at the same time.
The gap between 2 and 4 is gargantuan, as is the gap between, I don't know, 10 and 12. And I mean, there are certain gaps there that are really, really wide. But that does remind me of, speaking of like trigonometry.
Speaking of wide gaps.
Speaking of trigonometry I mean, this does have a point though. I think that, well, I tried to get baby Einstein the shit out of my kids and thinking like, oh, this game, Chutes and Ladders is for 5 to 8-year-olds, but I bet my 2-year-old can do it. There's that voice again for you. Mm-hmm. And I would get the games that were age inappropriate and try to like level up. And ultimately it was like, nope, this is too fucking hard for them. Why am I forcing this? It actually creates more pain in the acidness than it does like stimulation. So like it's tough. Those age appropriate levels are actually pretty accurate. And if your kid is already doing trigonometry, good for fucking you. Go listen to another podcast. So speaking of another podcast, what won't you get on another podcast is dad hacks. Actually, I'm sure there's plenty of podcasts out there doing dad hacks, but whatever, fuck them. You're listening to this one. So I have started looking at a little bit of dad hack advice from other dads. Some of it, well, basically it's all the same, honestly, but some of it is truly bullshit, and sometimes it's actually kind of interesting. I'm going to give a shout out to a guy with a blog called Year of the Dad. Blog, I know.
How 2003. No.
Well, this was from 2019, and it is a blog that doesn't look like it's around anymore. So sorry, bud. Hope life's still good for you. But it was the first thing that came up when you Googled dad hacks, interestingly. And I did like 2 of them that he had, which were sunscreen. We've probably already talked about this. Make sure with a toddler, you put on sunscreen while they're strapped into their car seat. Because then, well, for obvious reasons, that's a good dad hack, I thought. And then also he suggested opening up a Gmail account for your kid or having an email account and emailing them periodically throughout their lives. And so then when they're, when they actually check their own email at age, 5, if your kid is already reading at an 8th grade level and doing trigonometry, but 13 for the rest of us, they already have a whole bunch of messages from you. And who knows what kind of time warp that can be. So
how very sweet. You know what's not sweet? Our top 3 list.
Top 3.
Gaytriarchs top 3 list. 3, 2, 1.
So this week, I think it's your list, yeah?
Yeah, it is. I want to know, what are the top 3 little childhood traumas you want your kid to go through to, grow up and be good people?
Okay.
So for me, number 3 is getting called out for stealing by a store employee.
Good one.
You recently had this, didn't you?
Sure did. He's still doing it. We're still finding little things. And we found last night, our babysitter came over and we found that he had taken her chapstick and hid it in one of his little cubbies.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you just I feel like you need one store clerk to be like, little kid, and you as a parent, you like shove that kid into the store clerk's face.
Totally.
And you get them called out for it. Number 2, getting caught bad-mouthing a friend.
Ooh.
Like, getting caught red-handed, I think it's a lifelong lesson in knowing what it feels like. And I had a non-friend, a frenemy, and I were bad-mouthing a friend. The frenemy then 3-way called me because it was 1980.
Oh, my God.
1990. And then had me repeat what I said, which was bullshit. I don't know why I was saying. I was trying to impress the frenemy, and the friend was actually on the phone as I badmouthed the friend, saying that I hated this friend. And I believe, but I have never, by the way, we are still friends today, not the frenemy. Fuck that person. But we are still friends today. And I learned from that process for sure. Number 1, get caught cheating. Get caught cheating early, learn from the lesson, don't do it again. I got caught cheating embarrassingly. Oh my God. Do I really want to?
On your if I can be a podcaster exam? That's not how you cheated.
I got caught cheating in high school because I thought I was too good to memorize the names of the Supreme Court.
Ooh.
So I had a little cheat sheet on just their names. That's just their names. In a civics class. Like, it's not that difficult to memorize those names, but it's not easy either, especially when you have just, anyway, point being, I never did it again because holy shit was I embarrassed and shamed and
Yeah.
shamed and shamed. I will just give an honorable mention also to being betrayed by a friend. It sucks, but you need to be betrayed by a friend. But that's a childhood trauma. And then you move on from it. What about you, David?
I feel like the through line here is obviously like learning lessons and also learning that like there's life on the other side of these childhood traumas or whatever. Okay.
Well said.
So for me, number 3, I want my kid to have a really bad sunburn. Now, I get that will increase his chance of skin cancer, but I feel like you don't really take the sun very seriously until you have that one just miserable, can't sleep for days sunburn, and then you'd start taking it seriously. Number 2, I want my kids to get back together with their ex one time. Because I feel like the 2 times in my life that I've broken up with somebody and then been like, oh man, I miss them and I wish I could be together with them. And I did get back together with them later for whatever reason. I'm like, oh, this is why we broke up, because this doesn't work. This doesn't work for whatever reason, because I'm a piece of shit, because you're a piece of shit. I think you gotta, because then because it stops you from romanticizing what could have been. You're like, it wasn't going to work. And number 1, I hope my kids shit their pants in public. Because there is nothing more humbling and nothing more human than being in public, not having anywhere to go, and you just going. And you realize that, you know what? We're all humans and we all shit our pants.
When was the last time you shat your pants in public?
I don't really want to talk about that right now. So
okay, well, what we should talk about is what is next week's topic. And please tell me it has something to do with shitty pants.
Top 3 places you've shit your pants. No, but that is a good top 3 list, because maybe not places I've shit my pants, because I really haven't shit my pants, but I have shit in public because I had nowhere to go. Anyway, that is our I hope we win an award for this episode of this podcast. Next week, our top 3 list is top 3 tiny great things.
We're lucky today to be joined by a gay dad who's all about being an involved, adventurous dad, all about giving advice as a wellness coach for individuals and companies, all about meditation, and all about assholes, specifically not being one. Welcome, Jason Daley Kennedy.
Hi, Jason.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi.
So
Thanks
Jason,
for having me, guys.
you're all about assholes, insert joke here, but you're well versed in assholishness. So I obviously am enjoying this theme here, and it'll become clearer to our listeners why. But you founded a company called Meditation for Assholes. So because you're an expert in this topic, I want to ask for your 2 to 5 word answers on the following quick questions. Okay,
go.
What is your 2 to 5 word response on you feel like you're being an asshole?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that in the form of a question?
It's going, Gavin. It's going great. Your little game is going so well.
What goes on in your mind when you think, "Oh gosh, I'm being an asshole"?
Oh, I got to take a break.
Someone was an asshole to you at Starbucks.
I'm going to pray for you.
You have an asshole next to you at yoga.
Take deep breaths, bitch.
So, someone calls you an asshole on the 101.
Yes, I am.
Someone mutters asshole at an audition.
I guess I got another one.
Your kids are being assholes.
I'm going to take a breath outside.
Your kids call you an asshole.
Yes, I am. Find out how much.
Have you ever called your kids assholes?
Never to their face.
Okay. So tell us about Meditation for Assholes. And tell us about that.
Okay, yeah. So I started this probably about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. I started meditating in the early 2000s, and then I didn't levitate, and so I quit. And then because I thought that that's what it was about. I thought it was about like being on the side of a mountain and feeling all the nothing. And then about 2010 or so, I started because I live in Los Angeles. I started during an intuitive reading with a psychic who said my guides were telling me I needed to meditate, and I was like, all right, whatever. So I started. Yeah, it was intense. It's what happens when you move to California, guys. And then I started with 2 minutes a day, and then 5 minutes a day, and then 10 minutes a day. And I was able to build up a practice, and then I was able to make some big changes in my life. And I was like, oh, this really works. And so I started sharing that with other people, and just like friends and stuff. And then friends started asking me to meditate or show them how. And then I'd spent some time in entertainment and also with a lot of corporations. And I was very fortunate to be around a lot of assholes. And I thought, you know what? I think meditation could really help this group. And so I started Meditation for Assholes. And I kind of started it with this idea, like it was a little kitschy, but it was really rooted in how we act out of fear. So I created the acronym of ASSHOLE, where we're in anger, selfishness, shame, hurt, or hurting other people, overindulgence, lack, or like less than, and ego. And if we can get out of that way, then we'll show up in a way that's more of love and service and tolerance and kindness, and less like an asshole, but also wanted to make it much more realistic than I saw a lot of, at that time, meditation being poised to people, or being how it was like shown to people at that time. So I started doing that, and then I got a chance to start speaking on it, and then working with individuals, and then I became a coach and started working with individuals on that front, and then I started working with corporations. So it just kind of like took off from there.
So being an asshole is what led to all of your wellness coaching then, huh?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, like I can relate to people because I have been one. I've shown up that way, and then I've shown up not that way. And then it was like, okay, this is how I used to do it, and still can. And this is how it is when I don't do it. Right. And so I just try to work with people and sometimes being an asshole means like beating themselves up and taking themselves out of the equation. And then sometimes it means, like the textbook definition of showing up and being a total prick to people.
Also, I feel like I misunderstood probably the first 38 seconds of our interview, where I was thinking, how do you meditate with your butthole? It's like kind of what my brain was thinking, was like meditation for your hole is kind of where I thought we were going with this. So if I'm being honest, I'm slightly disappointed. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, that's only available on my Patreon site.
Oh, yeah. Your OF. You're going to drop the sneaky
link?
My
OnlyFans. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right.
Link in bio. I mean, I guess if you aren't so uptight, that would probably not be so uptight either, right? I mean, your body is a barometer for how your soul and your mind are. So if you're actually more relaxed, you're probably going to be more relaxed.
Your kind of mental state absolutely affects your physiological response to if it's pleasurable or difficult or easy or whatever. So that
100%. And that's across the board. Like our mental state affects how we grip the steering wheel too tight when we're driving, when we're fighting somebody for a cab, when we're interacting with our kids, with our colleagues. If you're an actor, if you're auditioning, if you're on stage, how you're showing up. That little bit of self-doubt, if you let yourself feed on that, then your performance in any stage, room, etc., is going to be not as good as it could be.
So before we ask about your kids, which obviously that's the most important topic in all of our lives, but I am curious, was there a specific moment where you said, oh my God, I'm an asshole, I have to change?
I like to think of it as many micro moments.
Which is exactly what an asshole would say.
Yeah, exactly. I think I had enough experiences, some of them beating myself up, some of them taking myself out of the equation, some of them like, I cannot believe I just said that to that person. And look, just because you start meditating doesn't mean that you're not an asshole. Like I've met many self-evolved assholes, and because it really requires self-introspection. It really requires this idea of like, how did I show up? At the end of the day, I like to look at how I acted in the day so I don't continue acting a certain way. I like to make up for things when I've done something that isn't on par with what I believe is the best version of myself. And I hope, with my kids, I hope that I model that behavior. There's a lot to be said for when I can kind of like, if I lose my cool and say, hey, you know what? I don't like the way that I did that, and then hopefully that they do that with their siblings. We're big on like showing, each other grace in our family, but also like calling each other out too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I could count on one finger how many times I've shown grace to my children. in the 4 years I've had.
Is it the middle one?
Yeah, it's exactly the middle one. So let's hear it. Like, how did you become a dad?
Yeah, interesting story. We got married. My husband and I got married in 2015, and then pretty shortly thereafter, knew we wanted to have kids, and then pretty shortly thereafter, we decided to enter the foster care system. We had both had family members in the system, or who were adopted out of the system, and then we started that in January of 16. And then I remember I was at my talent manager's office, and I got a call at 1:00 that we were getting 2 kids who were coming. And I said when, and they said 4:00.
Oh
and
my
so
God.
I rushed home, and luckily my parents were flying in that day. They're here again right now, actually. And it was around this time. It was actually like June something of 2016. And we had some friends who like grabbed stuff. We had some stuff, and I came home, and there was a 3-month-old and a 13-month-old. The guy came to the door, and he like rang the doorbell, and he's like, "Hey, I have the kids in the car." And I was like, "Well, let's go get them."
What, like it was like Uber Eats. Like, what the fuck are you?
It was
kidding
totally,
me?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was it. It was actually the inspiration for Uber Eats. And then they came in, and our life, like it was really full. Like they were really cool kids, 2 boys, and we had a lot of fun with them. And it seemed pretty clear from the beginning that we were going to adopt them, just given their backstory. And about a year into it, their birth parents started coming around again and started getting better, which, the primary goal of the foster care system is reunification. And then...
and did you guys have that in your mind the whole time? Did you find yourself kind of living in a little bit of the fantasy of like, maybe they'll be...
Living a little bit in the fantasy of it. And quite honestly, like... it was supported by some of the people that we were working with too. Like there's no way, there's not going to happen. And quite honestly, it probably wouldn't have happened. But what happened was in fall of 17, in October, we got a call that the original detention for the boys got overturned by an appellate court.
What does that mean, detention?
3 judges decided that the kids, even though they were exposed all of these things, that one of which would pull a kid from the house. There were like 5 or 2, I guess, would. And if there were 5, they said, well, they should have never been detained in the first place. So they immediately that day went back to their birth parents, who were quite honestly ill prepared for it.
And who was asking for that? Did they have attorneys on their behalf trying to get that back, or did that happen without them knowing?
Okay. Yeah. And honestly, I kind of always wondered, like, if they were to go back, if they had maybe 6 more months of ramp up time, which still would have been really painful for us, they may have been able to be more successful as parents. But what happened was those kids ended up in and out of the system still.
Yeah.
Wow. Jason, in that time that you were delusionally hoping that you would hold on to the kids, were you at the same time having to, is it a practice to say with the kids, listen, you're hopefully going to go back to your birth parents. You're hopefully going to go back.
Well, no, I understand the correct question. Were we talking to them about going back? At that point, they were very young. And so we started to have some visits with their birth parents at a point. And so they had this kind of a little bit of, interaction with them. So it wasn't just like night and day for them. But, when they came, they were 3 months and 13 months old. When they left, they were 17 and 27 months old, roughly.
Oh, right.
Would be more than that. I can't do math. And so there was a little bit of that. But no, not, I mean, when they're older, you kind of do have those conversations.
Sure.
But I am.
What did they call you? What did they call you?
Dad and Daddy. Okay. Then. Yeah, those 2 did. Yeah. And then what happened was we took a year off. We thought about surrogacy, and then we got a call in October of 18 about they were described as 3 magical kids who needed a permanent place, because they had already been through the system to a point where they weren't going back to the birth parents, but they were they needed a home that would be an adoptive placement home.
Magical kids like Hufflepuffs, Ravenclaw. What are we talking about? What house are they in?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I'm not a Harry Potter guy, but
okay.
Yeah, the cool one.
Okay, Gryffindor.
They were 2, 5, and just turned 6 at the time. And so we went and met them in the winter of 2019, early January. And then they came for an overnight visit, and then they moved in February. And that's how we became a family. So we have 2 sons and a daughter. My daughter is now 11, and my son is 10, and my youngest son just turned 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And now, did they also come via Uber Eats, or how was like the first time you met them?
Yeah, this was much more like a catering experience. They there was
higher end.
It was prepared. Yeah. We met them in their foster home, and then they came back to visit us once. We took them for a couple of visits. So this was about a ramp up of about a month.
Mm-hmm.
They came for an overnight. We took them back, and then they came and then stayed.
Damn, that is still going from 0 to 150 though. I mean, that is a lot. Jumping into 3. Were you ready for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it reminded me that I was ready to be a parent again. I took that year off, and how meditation really helped me in that year. I called it like mindfully numbing. I was kind of checked out, but I was still checking in, if that makes any sense. That year in between when the kids left and it took about a year. And then it was funny because at the end of that year, almost to the day, is when we got a call about these kids. So it was this period of like a lot of grieving and repair and, all of that stuff that you need to do and go through the emotions. And then it was kind of like, okay, cool. I'm opening myself up to this again. And then like magically got a phone call the next day. And this is why I really like meditation, because I think you can clear the way for things to happen positively in your life. And every time I've really laid into it and relied on it, cool things have happened, like, having 3 kids. But yeah, it was 0 to 150. And especially because it was almost, with babies, they don't talk back.
Yeah.
And,
no, they came prepackaged with personalities and opinions.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's funny because they are very magical kids. They're really cute. They're funny. They're athletic, and they do all these really cool things. And then, and it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then when they felt comfortable enough is when, especially my daughter, she would start like acting out, right? Like they felt comfortable and safe enough to actually get real. And so that was a whole adjustment period. And now she's a preteen, so that's a whole adjustment period.
Totally.
How old are your kids?
I've got an 11 and a 12-year-old, so I can completely relate to that age group. Yeah. Oh my goodness, buckle up.
And I have a 2 and a 4-year-old, and my 2-year-old is a total fucking bitch. So I am hoping that means she just loves me and she feels very safe with me to hate everything I cook, not put her shoes on, not go to bed when I tell her to, fall on the floor crying when I tell her to brush her teeth, which you do every single fucking night. So I'm just going to start taking that in a meditative way as love. That is just her version of love, and it's stifling.
Well, what like the woo-woo people say is everything is love, or it's a call for love. So,
oh, good.
You can flip me off if you want.
All right, then you can have her teeth brushed tonight. I'll bring you over, and then I'll let you love and receive love, or do the love thing with her.
Look, the thing is when people tell me like it's that, and sometimes they just are mean and cruel, and so you know what I mean. But like,
I don't think my kids are inherently cruel. I think they are asshole. I think it actually, if I'm getting totally serious, I do think that they feel safe enough to act out in the ways they do. And when I say act out, I mean in the totally benign way, just like tantrums and I refuse to eat the pasta I asked for, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's like this inherent bad thing. I think it's a natural part of them growing up. But it is funny to watch my 2 kids who were raised in the same house, maybe by different dads because we were different with the first kid and the second kid. But like my older kid is a fragile flower who mostly follows the rules. And my daughter is will light a house on fire if she had the capacity. She is just a completely different person. So I think it is a natural part of her. Like we never went through the terrible twos with my son. He was never terrible. I mean, he had like a meltdown at the mall one time, I remember. But other than that, like he was mostly okay. 3 was a little dicey. She is like, oh, I'll pick up, I'll have what he's having, and then I'll double it. So exactly.
So I would imagine also, Jason, you, in addition to your wellness and coaching, and in addition to being a dad, you're also a writer. right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, actor.
But you're also
sketch writing. Yeah, writing. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm writing a book actually.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So I want to show that I did a little bit of
forgot.
research here. I'm not a complete.
Yes.
Gavin
really
is just
did.
in a defensive mode right now. He's like, no. I Googled you once. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yes, you are obviously an actor. But isn't it more interesting to talk about the fact that you're like, working on sketch comedy and shit like that? That's so fun.
Yeah. It is fun. It's really fun. And I forgot I'm writing a book too. And it's fun. It's really fun. And it's actually opened up a lot for me because, I went meditation during the pandemic kind of led me back to acting after a long break. And so that picked up quick, and then the strike happened. And then I, started doing improv and really loving it. And then started doing sketch from there, and I'm really loving it. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because I think it gets a lot of stuff out of my head that I always I didn't realize was locked up in there, and it makes me pay attention to people more. I've always kind of been kind of observant since I started meditating, but now I'm doing it in a new way, using them. And you just you're like, oh, you're a great character.
But that's very much the respiratory system, I feel like, of writers. Of artists, which is you ingest a lot more just naturally. We see, like you said, we're sociologists. We're staring at people. We're thinking about people. But the other side of that is we need to exhale a lot of that stuff. We need to write it down. We need to perform it. We need to create a statue or whatever. And we just have more of the ingestion. I think a lot of people who stop doing art or because of a strike or a pandemic or whatever, they start to just feel like this thing building up inside of them because they don't have anywhere to put that. So it sounds like that's kind of what you found as you started writing. You started to kind of put a lot of that stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that's a really good observation because I think
flip your hair, David.
Yeah. It really is because I think, and also when that stuff bottles up, it's the physiological thing that we were talking about earlier. It's going to come out in some other way that isn't as positive as it could be if it was, the art that you're passionate about making.
Yeah, let's bring it back to bottoming. It's always important to bring the show back to bottoming, which is really where our sweet spot is.
Well, speaking of not at all bottoming, Jason, do your kids think you're funny? Do you try out your material on them? Oh, that's validating.
They do. Two of them do. My daughter thinks I am, and I double down on it. My 11-year-old, so she's like, "Oh my god, you're so embarrassing." She's at that point now, and I'm like, "Just watch."
Oh man, I can get way more embarrassing. I'll get way more embarrassing,
and I will. Sorry, there's a leaf blower outside.
Is he hot?
Please don't.
We want to know if the leaf blower is hot or not.
No.
Okay.
I mean, sure. To some people, no.
I feel like if you're doing yard work, whether you own a company or it's your own yard or whatever, you automatically get 2 extra points for your hotness, above whatever natural level you live at. Just something sexy about doing yard work. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you're funny, except for your daughter who thinks you're embarrassing.
Yeah, she thinks I'm cringe. Have you Gavin gotten into the whole skibbity?
Yes.
All of this.
It's so. Can you explain it to me, please?
Okay, I feel like skibbity has something to do with the toilet, although I don't know for sure. I can't.
Oh my god, this is so
cringe.
We're embarrassing ourselves already. We're embarrassing ourselves, but yes, it does have
just
something
3
to do with
old people discussing what are the words
skibbity
our children
toilet
are using.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I actually created a character based on my daughter, based on that. Skibbity and cringe and Riz. Obviously, Riz is a big
sure.
I feel like Riz is like the gateway drug for older parents who think they're cool. They're like, "Oh, Riz, charisma. I understand what that is." It's like, yeah, but that's. I feel like that's like a red herring. That's they're giving us one, so we understand it, while they still have their secret language about skibbity. Yeah, which it does. It does sound vaguely toilet adjacent, but I bet it's not.
Oh, it is. No, David L.
It is?
We should find. I mean, it's not shit based, but yes, it's definitely toilet based. But Jason, are you in your sketch writing? Are you unique being a dad? Are you surrounded by a bunch of non-dads and moms?
Many. I'm writing one piece right now that, sometimes I get it. There's a lot of material being a dad, especially like with dance moms.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole Pandora's box of amazingness. And my kids are in like club sports and things like that. And so there's a lot there. And then PTA stuff, like, which I'm pretty involved with my kids' school, but then there's also some things where you're like, wow, that's a lot right there. That's amazing. So I do try to bring a lot of that stuff into it. Also, what I think the thing is from a performer or writer perspective is having kids. And I don't know if you guys found this as well, but like, I don't care about the result of the audition or when I put something up or when I go on stage and make an ass out of myself as much as I did before I had kids. And I think being so cringe to them kind of helps.
You mean for yourself or for them?
For myself.
Oh, okay.
For myself. Yeah. Nah, for them, I'm still kind of like
results based for them, right? You either get the part or you're not my child anymore. Got it. Yeah.
It's something to that effect. Yeah. It's more like perform.
Mm-hmm. But dance for grandma.
Dance.
So, can you share with us one of those I'll never forget the time when with all three of your kids?
Yeah. I'll never forget the time when, well, on a sweet note, they came home for the first time, or it was actually further than overnight the first time. And they were just like in love with the house, and they didn't want to leave. And that was really sweet. I'll never forget the time when my daughter, oh my God, I hope I remember this. She was probably 6 or 7. It was 7. It was right in like 2020. And she had a meltdown about something. And she said, so our kids used to say, my youngest used to say, I'll dream of you. We would say, I'll dream of you tonight. I'll dream of you. And he used to say, I'll dream of you, coffee, handsome, milkshake. Because I talked him into telling me that I was handsome and I love coffee and he likes milkshakes.
That's important.
Right. Yeah. If they believe it, then you're fine. And then so we would say that all the time, and they would say it became like a nightly routine for all three kids. And then one morning, one day when my daughter had a tantrum, I was carrying her upstairs because she needed to calm down. So I was taking her to her room, and she's like, I hate you. You're not handsome. Oh, wait, you're not real. You're not my dad. You're not my real dad. You're something else, and you're not handsome. And I was like, did you just say I'm not handsome? Like I let everything else go.
Like everything else was, exactly. Like the handsome thing really got to you.
Yeah. Do you know how big my ego is?
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things I remember with her. My son, Eddie, is like, he plays dumb really well, but he's really smart and cute. So like, always remember that. My husband's really good about writing down everything that they say.
Mm-hmm.
And then my youngest son is just super sarcastic. So I don't have a specific except for that sweet moment. And then,
Well, I think you're handsome, but I want to end on a question we ask all of our guests is, what is the best part of parenting and what is the worst part of parenting?
The best part is the laughter, like having fun. We really have a lot of fun. And the worst part is skibbity cringe.
Yeah, skibbity cringe riz. And not being handsome, honestly. Being an uggo. Sure. Just being an uggo, not real dad. Yeah.
Being ugly. Being an ogre.
We are so glad you brought your ogre self here to Gaytriarchs and demeaning yourself with our stupid little podcast. Thank you for being with us. And go write some great shit and make all of us laugh without cringing. Okay?
And also, Shrek was the most profitable franchise for DreamWorks, so don't shit on ogres.
Yeah, maybe I'm ugly.
So my something great, it's slightly a twofer, which I know is a cheat, but I wanted to start by saying it's June 5th. It's Pride Month. Happy Pride. So,
Happy Pride!
That is something great, obviously. It is my particular something great this week, but in general, all episodes for this month are Happy Pride, and we're very excited about Pride happening, and we'll have lots more to say about that later. But my real something great this week is something that I did last year at this time, and it was my something great last year at this time, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it again. I just came back from Cinestory in Los Angeles, which if you don't know what Cinestory is, it's a television writers kind of retreat in the woods where they have 40 writers and 40 or so mentors come out, and we go to Idlewild, California, and we read scripts, and there's managers and agents and writers, and it's just like a big kind of TV retreat. They have a feature retreat as well, but I'm a mentor at the TV retreat, and it's always just an incredible experience. It's so fun to be kind of vacationing in the woods. It's so fun to be around other TV writers, especially at this time in our industry. It's just a fun reminder that there's a lot of great ideas and a lot of great people in this industry. And unless you're in an active TV writer's room, you're not often working with other writers and hanging out with them. So it's just a blast. Me and the mentors have a really great time. The mentees were amazing. They're great writers. And in general, it's one of my favorite things to do every year. So my something great this week is Cinestory.
And this episode of Gaytriarchs is brought to you in part by Cinestory. Mm-hmm. Do you think they'll give us money for that?
No, but I did get 2 free water bottles from them. That say Cinestory on the side. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. Great. My something great is Governor's Island. I recently had the total pleasure of taking way too many kids from a dirt road in Connecticut down to Governor's Island, including planes, trains, and automobiles, basically, to get there. If you have never been to Governor's Island, it is the best place in New York City. It is so much fun. I'll leave it at that. It was just really fun to run around on the island, ride bikes, get ice cream, etc. So trust me, Governor's Island is a place to go when going to New York City.
And that's our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at GaytriarchsPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at GaytriarchsPodcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge on a bike.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we'll make a movie about you next time on another episode of Gaytriarchs.